This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 392.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash. 104 error. Page not found. Links aren't working. System is crashing. System is crashing. System is crashing.
Your old HTML website. Barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website. Better than it was before. Better. Stronger. Faster.
Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events, there are none. I didn't see anything out there really. So no camps and no other types of conferences midweek or otherwise. So moving on to segment one in the news, two things to talk about here. First and foremost, the Classic Editor has had its support extended, its lifeline for support. It was supposed to be the end of this year. Now it's going to be the end of 2022. There was a whole bunch of pushback and commentary and feedback on all of it. So now it will be supported through the end of 2022. There's a link over on the show notes, but there's a post over on WordPress.org in the news section as well from last week. So there's that. Also in the news, Advanced Custom Fields has a new version, 5.10. It's the first version they've released since being acquired by Delicious Brains. It's no longer free, if I'm not mistaken, but it's worth the investment. I bought a lifetime deal way back. We use it a lot on different sites that we build at the agency. A couple of the highlights that I got via the email that were sent to me regarding this was improved security and some ACF block improvements. So keep that in mind if you're using that. Check out the newest version there, and that was pretty cool. So ACF version 5.10 is now out as well. All right, anything else in the news? That's it in the news. All right, so moving on to segment two, but first a word from this week's sponsor. Running a web design agency, an e-commerce website, or software as a service-based business isn't always fun nor easy. Moving from idea to product to sale takes a lot of energy and people and feedback. Add to the mix the potential of multiple decision makers with everyone chiming in. Making progress can become a nightmare. And who wants to deal with all that email? I don't, that's for sure. So how does my team handle it? Simple. We use Marker.io. For one of our recent projects, we installed the widget and collected feedback on both the staging and live websites. Marker.io allows us to customize the settings, which provides the use of different forms for internal teams as well as from customers. So cool. Gone are the days where a client has to try to explain in text what they want changed. Since Marker.io grabs a screenshot and allows you to mark it right up, right there on the screen. And when you're ready to review the feedback, well, no need to log into a new site or service to see the feedback, since Marker.io integrates into your favorite project manager or issue tracker seamlessly. Speed up website testing and collect client feedback easily without driving yourself or your team crazy. Simply head over to Marker.io for more info. That's Marker.io. And thanks for sponsoring this week's episode of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. All right, and now moving on to segment two. Lessons from the past 5 years. This week, I celebrate 5 years of running my agency. Yeah, that's right, leaving the day job, working for the man. And over those 5 years, I've shared the good, the bad, the ugly. I did a series of it in the first year. I think I did every 3 months. I did an update, what was going on. And I got to tell you, that was hard. Not just sharing, but just that first year and a half, really tough. So here we are again. September 2nd will be the 5-year anniversary, technically, of leaving the job and taking this thing that I'm doing full time. And here are the top 5 things that I've learned and wished I have done earlier. I'm still working on some things, and it's a progress. And I'm hoping this will help you further along, your journey as well. So number one, in no specific order necessarily, and I've mentioned these in the past in different ways, but number one, I wish I had implemented better financial tracking and planning sooner, like much, much sooner. I mentioned it recently in a lot recently about Profit First and the book and the process. And I did that early last year, thanks to my friend Renee. And honestly, if I hadn't done that when I did, so this was probably January, February of 2020, honestly, I'm not sure I'd be in business today. Seriously, it's that vital that it worked for me at the right time. I didn't really know my expenses. I didn't know my the process of paying myself first, profit margins, all that stuff. So I wish I would have implemented better financial tracking. That would have just saved me a ton of headache, I'm sure. So there's that. Number 2, I wish I would have had hired and outsourced sooner, like really taken that leap of faith, I guess. It's easy to say now. I mean, I have a team and I trust on and I rely on them, but I used to waste way too much time debating on outsourcing a project or a project element or not. The designer, the developer, sure, I can do it all. That's how we all start. We all start by wearing all the hats. But I'm sure that on more than one hand, I can count that I shouldn't have. And I wasted weeks by doing that. And then you get behind on the project and it adds to the stress. So yeah, I wish I would have just taken the gamble, taken the bite, and then accordingly raised prices to cover that, or priced better and been smarter about the overall pricing of the project in question so I could afford to have that luxury and that flexibility of having someone else do what they're better at than I am. So anyway, I wish I would have hired and outsourced sooner and made a team sooner. Number 3, implemented processes. Now, I'm still working on that. Literally, I started this again this past week. I've been working on the doc site for Concierge, for the team. I need to save time and not recreate the wheel for each project interaction. So processes are great. I've been doing this podcast for so long now that I actually have a process that I do every week, the same thing every week. Why I have not done that for the agency, I don't know. Lazy, fear, uncertainty. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly why, but I haven't. But I mean, I have notes. It's a matter of putting them in the right place so everyone can see them and have it be consistent. That's the key there. So I wish I would have done that sooner. I'm working on it now. It's always going to be evolving. That's going to be evolving. Number 4. I've talked about this many times. Burnout vacations. Now, you need to plan these, schedule them, and do them. You need to get away. You need to unplug. I do, for sure. I'm still working on this a little bit. It's hard because, of course, pandemic makes it harder this year. And so does the broken foot, as I literally was about to plan to go away to the beach for a few days by myself and just unplug. I broke my foot back in early August. So, that being said, you got to really take advantage of the fact that we work for ourselves, quote unquote. And you have to take care of your mental health. It's important. Otherwise, the burnout will lead to mistakes, and it's not good. It's not a good place to have a business. So there's that. And number 5, accepting the fact that I'm not an expert at everything. Clearly, this is the truth, and I'm okay with that now. And I'm working on getting back to saying no more and working with more intentionality with my time and my focus. Currently rereading the book called Essentialism. And I need to work on the right things at the right moment that will move the needle forward and not just be busy for busy's sake. Okay, so I'm not an expert at everything. Again, it goes back to me outsourcing and bringing in the team that is better at things than I am. And I can just have the visionary and kind of lead and do the things that I'm good at. So yeah, those are the things, the top 5 that kind of came to mind as I was putting this episode together. Now, in speaking with a good friend about this kind of concept about companies and running our agencies, and about selling our companies, the question was, would we ever do that? And I can say that when I started out, I thought, no way, it's mine, it's me. Now, 5 years later, I can say maybe, even sure. And actually, I've been offered a few exits in the past couple years, but it just hasn't worked out right for timing or money or whatever. It needs to be for the right reasons, not just the money for me. And also for me, what's next? If I sell something, if I leave it, what am I going to do? So I think my friend is a no-go on selling because I think they want to grow. I know they want to grow at this moment, and that's great for them. I also think the differences between the two of us and our agencies in question are our ages and place in life. I'm 10 years older, and my kids are older, hers are younger, etc. So, it's just a matter of, will there be a change coming for me? I don't know. But, not today, not tomorrow anyway. So yes, being a business owner is all of the things. It's hard, it's depressing, it's exciting, it's rewarding, it's lonely. But it's also a choice. And things change. So, like I said, what's my current plan? Well, after getting out of my broken foot, woe is me pity party the last few weeks, I've had some conversations with people in my business mastermind. By the way, I highly recommend that you get into a mastermind as soon as possible. I'm excited again about all the things that I want to do. And I've realized I said all the things. So now I know the key is my focus and the plan. Again, back to Essentialism, the book, and doing the things that will move the needle. So I'm going to leave you with this quote that I've been used for many years. And it comes from a time when, honestly, my marriage was a bit rocky. And I think it says a lot here. So the quote is this: clarity begets action. Action speaks louder than words. It's that simple. I'll say it again. Clarity begets action. Action speaks louder than words. Okay. So I hope that's helpful. I hope you're learn something about what you're trying to do with your careers and your place in your day-to-day. If you're an entrepreneur, solopreneur, if you work at a company and you're trying to get out, just take from what I've learned and maybe implement it where you can. So there you go. All right, moving on. Segment 3, Tip and Tool of the Week. This week's tip, it's a website resource. It is a website called underrepresentedintech.com. It is put out by my friend Michelle Frechette and Ali Nimmons. It's a great website. It's a place to go and find resources and people that will help, if you're looking for guest bloggers, guests on your podcast, writers, people who are underrepresented in tech. It's a fantastic resource. I highly recommend it. Check it out. And there you go. So I'll be linking the show notes there as well. All right, let me wrap it up here. If you have any questions, go ahead and send it in via email, adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use that speak pipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, you can become a Patreon, KitchensinkWP.com/Patreon. If you want to sponsor the show, like marker.io, do that too. There's a form on the website. All things regarding business coaching can be found over at adamsilver.com. And I appreciate you so much. I really do. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right? Bye-bye. P.S. Happy anniversary to my most amazing wife. The day of this episode that comes out, it'll be our 23rd wedding anniversary. And I really appreciate you on this journey with me. And I love you. And that's it. Okay. Bye.